adjourned for our 6 p.m. meeting of the budget hearing. If everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to this microphone. Terry, can this microphone hear me okay? Okay. Moving on to item C, which is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda of the special school board meeting budget hearing for September the 10th, 2025?
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you, Diane, Samantha. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Okay. Non-action items A, public hearing on the 2025 budget.
School board, thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of the district. So every single year, the school district is required to submit a budget to the state of Indiana, which states your line-by-line estimates and for salaries, for supplies, for services charges, for capital outlay, and also your property tax levies that you request within the education or within the operations and your debt service fund. So what we have proposed for you is under the debt service fund, a budget of $2.5 million and a levy of $2.5 million. And then inside of the operations fund, we've proposed a levy of $4.17 million. The education fund is mostly funded by the basic rate tuition, which is based on your ADM count, student enrollment, basically. And so that is fully funded by state support. Total levy for the district amounts to $6.7 million, with an overall tax rate of just about $1 per $100 of net assessed valuation throughout the district. As it compares to the property tax cap estimates, or as other people term circuit breaker impact, that comes out to about $317,000, which we have factored inside of this budget, which ultimately reduces your property tax levy within the operations and the debt service fund. So all of that is factored inside of here. The total total advertised budget for this evening under the education fund is $9.3 million. Under the operations fund, it is $5.3 million. Under the debt service fund, it is $2.5 million, which falls in line with outstanding obligations of the school district based on the total number of debt service bonds outlying. For a total budget of $17,132,917. And that number is basically the same as last year. So there's not entirely too much to discuss on this budget unless there are specific questions with the individual line items or within the circuit breaker impact as it comes to Senate Bill 1 legislative implications. I would be happy to answer.
And one thing, a couple things.
That is, we have attempted to do a line item budget for the first time in 5 years. And as it is the first time in 5 years, there will be adjustments made as we're learning, but that is more transparent to the community instead of just big round numbers like you may have seen in the past several years, and have tried to be very conservative with our numbers and make sure that we are getting what we can for the betterment of our kids.
A couple of key takeaways. The revenues align with the expenditures. It's a balanced budget, right? So we're not necessarily, with this budget, we're not going to spend more than what we're taking in. So that's good news for the school district. Debt obligations are being managed properly. So we're not falling behind on any debt service requirements. I know you may have had a question.
A few others, but I want to.
He's gonna have all the questions.
Anybody else want to ask me? So I'm just I met with Daniel and Mike and the finance committee, went through a lot of this and had a lot of good discoveries. And since I've been on the board in October of last year, being that the county did budgeting is what my specialty was for the county council, it's our job. This was a big focus for me. So to our credit and to our superintendent and the vendor that we're using, which is Senator Dalton, they have shown us, again, like Mike just said, the last couple of years, we were just putting in our state numbers, the total amount of expenditures and revenues. It did not have an itemized breakdown. I had to get an actual copy of one from Diane from years ago that I sent to him so that he could at least have a comparison of what we're doing. The numbers that we have for us as a board and for our superintendent are just a reverse engineered of what we've spent trying to understand where our expenditures are completely at. We have, in my opinion, done a fabulous job in the concept of figuring out where we're spending our money. We were just having a discussion about certain things earlier of money that we're going to clean up here hopefully soon. So this isn't what I would expect, nor I think the board long term. I know that that's not what he expects, and I know that's not what Mike expects. The numbers, which hopefully this is our first phase of doing the budget process. We do the public hearing. Then what's the next step? You guys have to submit this to the state by Friday.
Advertised.
Yeah, did the advertising first.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's our public hearing. We'll open up the public hearing soon.
Right, let the public
And
comment.
then the adoption meeting is in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, the normal 10-day process.
Yeah.
Okay. And in that time frame, if we need to make any adjustments, we can before the 2-week period.
We can reduce.
We can't go above, correct, by statute. You can't do more than what you've advertised as the total expenditures per fund.
Correct.
But we can do any reductions that we need to. Now, when we put this budget together, which we talked about, shows that we're spending what we're bringing in. It's most budgets in the state, whether they're municipal, county, towns, whatever, don't always spend everything they budget for. It's usually 10 to 12% that you carry over the next year. We still have a running balance, which I'm assuming we've given to the public. If not, we should, which has our cash carrying over, and we're estimating in our education fund of cash fund balance, $2,792,056 for estimate for 2026. And it looks like you're estimating when we get to the SB 1
Yeah,
is when we're going to start to see the decline potentially
in operations.
in operations. Education, you're showing a decline too.
Yeah.
Is that just from enrollment that we're always, since I've been here, everybody's saying enrollment's an issue, enrollment's an issue?
There is a specific House bill that was approved that has an impact on the per dollar per kid that is received.
Okay. What I've noticed in all of these things that I've gotten in the last budget from last year and this year is somehow our enrollment goes down, but our dollar amount keeps going up. So the state must be giving more per student or some other funding.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
the students, the state is willing to.
Instead of 7,300, maybe it's 7,500.
Yeah, there's a threshold there though.
So if you lose 1,000 students,
Correct. No.
in basic grant tuition, but it goes up to a certain.
And then our debt stuff, which is our tax base, which we talked about, which is our overall tax rate for the school district, which part of it pays our debt services, which is all of our bonds.
Yeah.
And the other part is our operation revenue that we're bringing in. Have we figured out the remainder of our debt services and timeline that we have left on those? That we were talking about at that last meeting?
Yes.
Yes, we have a breakdown of the every single bond that is currently existing for the school district, breakdown of when it gets paid off, and the amount existing today.
Can we get that to us? Yeah. If you could share that with the board, that would be great. Whenever you can send that to us, so we all have an idea of, and also we can let the public know how much more we owe on our debt service, because that's part of our tax rate.
Certainly.
The other question I had was, in the estimates for our carryover cash balance, we are estimating of transferring 900,000 is what we recommended again, which is 10%, not the 15%
Yeah, 10,
that
not
we can.
15.
And then that 900,000 will go to our operations part of it, and that's been budgeted out to make it so we don't. I think our operation budget showed that we will be in the negative as of this next, meaning negative expenditure for the year.
Cash flow.
Yeah, cash flow wise, we're gonna spend 375 by our budgeted numbers for 2026, 375, 776.
Yes.
Okay, even though we have a healthy cash balance in there. All right,
And I may mention, cash reserve ratio in that operations fund is upwards of 50%.
correct. Yeah, we were talking about that's brutal. Should never be that high, but. All right, again, it wasn't, for me personally, it wasn't something, this budget isn't what I'd want to present to the county or to the constituents or to our staff, but it's a heck of a lot better than what we had last year. And I'm hoping, once we get more stability, we'll be able to finish this and get this finely tuned so that at least now our department heads are going to understand what they can spend.
Yeah.
Before they didn't. So I'm very excited about that.
And the principals in their buildings know
Department
what
heads,
they have.
principals.
Yeah, we'll be able to build out from this, and then next year, based upon that build out, we can build forward instead of building backward, if you will.
Did we have any buses purchased in here? Because it's part of the
That's-
budgeting.
That you should have that somewhere.
Could be in this. I know we talked to
I
Dave.
handed Dave.
about that.
This one?
Where did I put that?
Yeah. But we can transition into that
Yeah.
next
Part
part.
of budgeting, yes.
Yeah,
I
so,
I have a question though on the budget.
okay,
Sorry, real quick. I had talked to you about it because in this budget, and the only reason I'm asking is because there's something labeled step ahead. I don't understand what that is, and that is not me.
No.
I work for the county. I get no money from the school, and it always bothers me that it's labeled that in
We
here.
didn't clean that out?
I want to make sure that that's
Oh.
clear.
it's
You
cleaned
did?
out in the new one. You got the
Okay.
old one, yeah.
I got the old one.
Yeah, we caught it.
At the budget
Okay,
meeting, we were talking about, I asked
and
him
I'm
that
sorry.
question.
Yeah,
That was $20,000 that there's a separate step ahead fund.
yeah, and
Completely outside.
For what?
of the operations
that's what I didn't know what it was for.
fund.
Right.
And so we removed that from the operations fund entirely.
Okay,
So it wasn't nothing that they paid your group
No.
for, or because when
Or
you
me
were, or the
personally,
county,
no.
because the county funds step in another grant.
me, yes.
Yeah.
And
so
everything
yes,
I do in the
we will.
schools, I bring stuff in, so that's always bothered me because I'm like the optics of that, because you asked me that too. You were like, I was like, it's not me, I'm
But
not
I know
getting
we
any
approved
money
on the
from the
county to get
school.
money for step in. I'm like, why didn't
Okay.
you pay twice?
Yeah.
I don't know why that was ever a line item in there.
Yeah.
So he said we've removed it. I didn't see it on the new one, so.
Okay,
And then, yeah, the new one with the new comparison, I forwarded it to everybody.
okay, sorry, so must be looking at the old one, so,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, lead into for the bus
Sure.
barn and also the Hune
Yeah.
or
Capital projects.
projects.
So just for the public, we will be having a hearing next meeting for bus replacement and capital projects, but I wanted to give you proposals right now. So what we wanted to do, and really we could have brought bus replacement forward tonight. But I do think these kind of tie in together. Capital projects, I want to give you accurate numbers, and I want the board to have accurate numbers. And we went through and identified what are the pressing capital needs that we have. And now, as you may or may not have heard, we did no capital improvements last year. They were approved to be done, but then they weren't done. So any of the numbers we have are going to have to be recalculated, as well as things that have risen to the top. And I know some handouts were passed out, but I want to go through these. So for bus replacement, we're recommending taking 4 buses out of circulation, 1 2012 bus and 3 2014 buses. We do not need a 1-for-1 replacement on those. So what we're recommending is 1 72 passenger bus, which in full disclosure is actually a 78 passenger, but we have it outfitted with seats for 72. So there's a little bit more room for the kids if we're going to have a full bus. And then 2 of our small 14 passenger buses, which are the white buses. A lot of times you see athletic teams riding on and things like that. But it's also a way that we transport a lot of our children with disabilities. So right now, a 72 passenger bus, or the outfitted, like we said, is approximately $175,000. And we're going to nail that pricing down. And then a 14 passenger is about $150,000. So we're looking at about $475,000 recommended in bus replacement
For calendar year 2025.
for calendar year 2026.
Purchase or order?
Both.
Because it takes 2 years to get them now, or a year and a half to get the actual bus. From the date of order.
Bus, I can get them as quick as 90 days out from data.
So between you guys, your recommendation is to get one white bus, short bus.
No,
2 white buses,
Two white buses.
1 long bus.
Okay, two, and then 172. Now my question on the bigger buses, on our normal routes, because we do 2 routes, is what I learned. One in the morning for the elementary, then you come back and pick up the high schools and flip them, right?
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Right. So what is the capacity of our fullest bus on one of those routes? Is it full 70 kids? Because we're a very small school corporation.
When I load the buses, because when these buses were originally built back in when they were
50?
everything was based off of a 13-inch seat
Right.
of an individual. We don't have anybody out there with a 13-inch seat that I think of maybe a kindergartner. So I base it off of 2 students per bus, per seat. And that's how I load the buses with the routes. Now, we have some smaller kids who we can't, students that we can get 3 into a seat. But the requirement is they must be contained behind the barrier. That means their legs cannot be outside, and with the kids with the book bags and everything else that they bring to school, 2 students per seat is the way I load the routes.
So are we full, is what you're saying? 2,
I've got
or do we get 60 kids on a heavy bus?
48 to 52.
48 to 52?
Most of my routes are running that number out there.
Okay.
And just for clarification for everybody, they call them 72 passenger buses. We don't want 72 kids on those buses, or because there's typically 66, 72, or 78 passenger buses, but that is on the average of 3 kids a seat, and you can imagine the fun that would ensue.
Well, the
Right.
reason I was getting that question is because you both have told me, or somebody has told me, that on the smaller buses, you don't need a CDL-A.
No.
Right? Because that's a hard thing to get somebody to get CDL-A. And how many can you fit on the smaller white buses?
14.
Do they have any buses that are in between that you don't need a CDL? Like a 20 or?
No.
If it has air brakes, you have to have a CDL.
Yeah.
So
So
are we going to trade in any? Because I know you said we had extra.
so it depends on, we have 4 that we can either trade or surplus, depending on where we can get the better value. So
And those are 4 of them.
that's 4 of them, 12012 bus and 3 2014 buses.
And when we buy these new buses, do they come equipped with all of our cameras and stuff, or do you have to physically move it over? So then,
What we have to do is put in our FM radios, communications in the bus.
we take out the old camera equipment that uses spares.
No, sir, we get all new, keep it updated to the best we can get for, I guess you would call it inside vision on the buses.
Thank you.
So proposed capital projects, and again, that's what was holding us up for having the hearing, because we want to get the numbers to these and get them accurate. But I do want to go through the list because it is pretty extensive on things that either A, are infrastructure critical, or B, greatly enhance the student experience. So for North Newton High School, that would include reworking the chilled water system, replacing the welding shop air handling units, completely remodel the locker rooms, remodel the fax, which back in our day we called home ec, room to commercial kitchen standards. And if we got that room to commercial kitchen standards, we could offer dual credit classes so they could get college credit in there. Remodel the science labs, which are still circa 1967. Complete baseball and softball complex redesign and upgrade. Repair swimming pool floor and walls, which are coming up. Windmill upgrades and repair. Then that was all for the junior senior high. Lake Village, sidewalk repair and replacement, restroom renovations and ADA compliance, playground upgrades and ADA compliance, roof repair and generator installation. Currently, Lake Village does not have a generator. Lincoln vertical roof panel replacement. If you've been out to Lincoln, you'll see that somebody back in the day who was an architect thought it'd be a good idea to put these vertical roofs that cover nothing over the building, and all the shingles are falling off. So we're recommending putting siding on those so they're more visually appealing, and we don't get unnecessary leaks from things that don't even need to be there. Tree removal from the solar fence field. We have trees that are starting to fall, and if they fell in the wrong direction and hit the solar panels, would not be a good idea. Playground fence replacement, it's in pretty bad shape. Restroom renovations for ADA compliance and playground upgrades for ADA compliance. Here at Morocco, which is our most recently renovated building, not as many things, but playground upgrades for ADA compliance, as well as gym restroom renovations for the women and men's restrooms that are in the gymnasium. Within the next few days, we'll have dollar amounts to each of these, and at that point, we'll advertise these similar to the budget on the DOE site, and then we'll hold a hearing at the next board meeting for these as well, where we will take comment. And now, I don't want to get.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have questions
Go
too.
ahead.
For the Lake Village restroom renovations, which bathrooms?
There are restrooms that have not been upgraded. If you ask me exactly which ones, but there's some that got upgraded, some that did not.
Okay, yeah, the front one got upgraded and then the one in the back got upgraded.
Yeah.
So.
I think
are
we have
talking
4
about
down.
The ones in like the kindergarten and first grade classroom, or are we talking?
Yeah.
Yep, gotcha. In the front there.
Yeah.
Yep, forgot about those.
Yeah.
Okay, so those need to be upgraded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those were ones that we had on our list that we could confirm weren't done, so I didn't put eyes on those just because I knew they hadn't been. So that's the
Okay.
way I wasn't specific on that.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah, I
Oh.
think so.
Yeah, we'll be, come back. Generators, so Tyson and I talked to this, but I just want to make sure, confirm also publicly. We have generators for all of our other school systems. Are they the diesel generators that can run the entire facility?
These are making sure basically that our chillers don't go down.
Yeah, and that happened a while back. We had a big storm that came, rainstorm, knocked out the power in Lake Village. Kids were out for like 3 days because we had to replace the well pump because it burnt out. So all the kids were going to the bathroom flushing those.
So the
Right.
generator is only enough to maintain minimal stuff.
Yeah, it's
like
minimal
the
stuff.
Not
refrigerator.
run the entire.
No, this isn't.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
And
fail safe.
so we're looking to put in something that's similar for that at Lake.
Similar to what we have out back here at Morocco. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And on the roof repair, because, like I said to Tyson and John when I was talking, because I didn't get to make the walkthrough. The roof repair for Lake Village, I've heard since forever that was ready to fall in and it's the end of the world and we need to, get rid of Lake Village. So I'm getting that that's not as bad as it is, or is that a critical piece that we need to get fixed?
It needs
Have we
to be.
been
It
told?
needs to be fixed. There was a recommendation that we completely put a new roof system in. I don't think that.
Is
Is
that
it-
what our maintenance guy, the new one, he's saying that he doesn't think that it needs.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it needs repaired. There are other options.
There's spots of it
Yeah.
that need to be
Like you and I were talking
repaired.
about
It's not a whole.
getting something more,
Multiple
This roof
patches.
system was
getting away from
discussed.
the flat roof.
Yeah.
Okay, so out of all of these, nothing from John or Tyson you saw, and from what Mike you saw,
Saw the
nothing
last
that we
time.
got
It's like
from,
multiple patches that we're trying to,
Mhm.
get
but
something. to cover all.
nothing. End of the days, we gotta close school because of any of this stuff. For right now, we're still able to make a decision
stay
once we
ahead
get
of
the
it.
numbers.
Yeah.
We gotta stay
And
ahead.
priority these things and keep it through. That's what you guys saw, that's what you saw.
Preventative maintenance is allowed.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure that everybody hears that and understands.
Problem turns into a big problem.
Thank you.
Question on all the playgrounds, because that's all
Yeah.
3 elementary schools. Are we going to ask the person who is helping us with all of the different grants as far as what they can pull from?
We are. Yeah, we're looking to see what grants could be done for playgrounds and that type
Okay.
of things. We
And the ADA stuff would be grant money too. If you
Mhm.
if we can find that. I did check with Sarah Clayton today. There is no money, but there's not a special fund that special education gets or anything like that for that type of thing. But she was going to ask around to the other members of the co-op and see if there's anyone who's pulled anything from that. We are reaching out to Nathan Williamson with Mozzie Education to see what kind of grants we can find. But we do have students with disabilities in 2 of our 3 elementary schools who are in wheelchairs and, deserve to have experiences as well. And then we have some pretty old equipment at each of the 3 playgrounds that,
probably safer than the newest stuff.
You
That-
think? Is the
Old metal
slide
slide,
that
those
you
are
burn your butt on still out there?
That
Builds character, right? Oh my gosh,
Well,
sorry.
thank you for that, both of you, Tyson and John, and our maintenance guy Corey and Mike going to walk around. I was surprised that, like Tyson and I talked, we were surprised that none of our stuff had gotten done over the last year or two. But
well, and there,
I
and
think
what,
we have new people in there. It's going to get done.
yeah,
so.
and what we had just for the board and for everyone, we had a list of recommendations that was made in 2020 for things that needed to be done immediately, 3 years, 5 years, and out.
Right.
Some of the stuff got done, but some of the things that are on this list were on the 2020 list that were supposed to be recommended and done. And then especially, like I said, last year, I don't personally agree with some of the things that were put on the list last year.
We didn't either.
And then there are everything on the list. None of it got done, so we've carried some of that things over. But other things don't wait.
Well, and to be quite honest, and like Tyson and I are talking, the problem with it is rollover superintendents, things of that nature. So I told him, and this is my personal opinion, and I'm assuming the board agrees with me, we have a maintenance director that is in that position. And once we approve this with you working with us on this, he just needs to take the ball and run with it and come back and keep you and us posted. And if you don't, after you are not here, who cares who comes in your place? That maintenance director needs to take what we give him the authority to, he or she, and just get it done. Not, get a new superintendent and you stop your projects. No, we as a board approve this, period. Go do that job, get it done, and who cares who's in the seat? That's how it works. I just can't understand, because that was the thing we were talking about, is there was so much turnover, and definitely nothing towards Mike, but everybody stopped doing the projects and stopped making decisions. That's your department. You've been directed and approved by the budget of the board, go get it done. So that's how I hope it gets done from here on out. So,
And then lastly, you did say that you wrote the principals in on all these.
Yeah, they did a walkthrough,
and
right?
took their.
Took care of that. And there are wish list items as well. Right now, we tried to include some of those, but we have some priority things we do need to catch up on. And that's the only thing that I would say is this is a ever-changing, fluid, flexible list based upon conditions and budgetary requirements. Because the one thing I would say is we may approve this list next year, may not have the funding, but they're all necessary to happen to get to them. And then something that wasn't even on this list could leapfrog them.
correct. You got to come back if there's priorities. It's the same thing when you do roads.
Yeah.
The county comes and says, I'm going to do $6 million of road paving, and they give you the roads and they tell you how much it's going to cost. Well, when they come back, they break it down. This is the priority. But if something over the winter causes a road to get messed up, they move that to the top of the list. It's just a process.
But
you gotta
to your point, Mr. Mark, there should be, once this gets reports back to you of, okay, here's where we are and here's where we are. And we're going to have to hold off on the upgrade to the windmill because we've expended.
Right, you have
all
X
the
amount of
budgeted
dollars
funds. Yeah.
for this project, you have X amount of dollars for this project, and you have X amount of dollars for that. And they just report back to the superintendent and get it done.
I've got one more question on my end. This is a sore subject, but is the repair to the swimming pool the same repair that we have been repairing?
We will not, if I have any say in it, be having the people who've repaired and repaired and re-repaired the pool repair the pool.
Okay. Please.
I believe Rensselaer has the same problem.
Yeah, so somebody else needs a new
Patches keep
shot.
falling off the patch.
Well, I mean, for me, you just need to be able to hold the people that did the work accountable.
Yeah.
Make them pay for what they
Paid a lot of money.
And
for
we've
it.
well, the problem is, I think we could have at some point.
Oh, we could have. When
Yeah.
the whole thing came across for us having to pay $30,000. It was prior to your guys' days, but it died. We voted not to do it.
Really?
Yeah. We had a balance left to pay performance services for $30,000. We were at Lincoln in the cafeteria, and it came up, and I got my butt chewed out by Dr. Rowe after the meeting because I voted no.
To not pay a company that's not doing
Not
their
pay a
job?
company because the pool was not done.
That's
I mean,
great use of taxpayer money that people want to push through stuff. You don't pay vendors that don't do their job. Period.
Fun.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything?
So our next
I'm
meeting,
excited about some actual infrastructure stuff being on the capital projects list and the commercial kitchen and the fax room,
Yep.
because I know that's been an ask and that's been something I've
Yep.
been
Mrs. Blasco has asked for that for
advocating for
years.
a while, because
Yep.
that's come through, so I'm
and we'll have
very
that for our
excited.
next meeting,
Thank you.
right? The numbers.
Yeah, the meeting.
And the science
next,
lab,
next-
yeah.
There will be
Yeah,
an
there's a lot of
actual
stuff.
hearing.
I just know.
We've had this put as part of it. We wanted to get accurate numbers because I'm going to say right now, it's my experience and my opinion that we're going to exceed available funds
Mhm.
when I come back with numbers. But I did want to make sure the things that were critical and we wanted to get done were all listed.
Well, we can just check them off the list. And
Yeah.
say priority wise, we can afford this, and the rest.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or try to go find funding from somewhere else.
Deborah, do we have any public comment for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Item 3, public comment. Judy?
Got to open the public hearing for A. Yeah. B and C we're going to do later. But yeah.
And I was wondering, when I was looking at this notice that you made a copy of from here, it says that the budget estimate is $5,280,000. But it says maximum estimated funds to be raised, $4,168,105. Is that still true?
Daniel? Yes.
So we are limited by the state in terms of our maximum levy growth quotient. So last year to this year, our growth quotient is 4% higher. We advertised a 5% increase in our maximum property tax levy. So our budget estimate, yes, is 5.28 million, but we are only asking for 4.16 million in terms of how much we want to receive in property tax levy to pay down that.
So this is the number 3 is actually what we're asking for.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it didn't make sense if this is our budget that we budgeted, and then this is all we can get.
Yes. We are
That
asking
doesn't make
for
a lot of
the
sense.
maximum amount of property tax levy as we can possibly get via state statutory requirements or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
limitations, right? And our budget is what our budget is.
Have you
I may also say we
somebody's
do not
calculated
always
that?
spend that full.
Because it's different, they changed the property tax rules?
The max levy growth quotient is dependent on assessed value changes from year to year.
Mhm.
So between 2025 and 2026, the Department of Local Government Finance said you are allowed to ask for 4% above what your current property tax levy is.
Okay,
So I'm asking for 5% to force the state to
okay.
push us down to 4%.
So we really don't know what it's gonna be.
Well, we do. This is a pretty good.
Percent instead of the.
It will be.
You always in the county, you even ask 15
I
years, you
understand that,
ask
that's
for
been
more.
every single year for like the past 20 years, we've always asked for more than what we really want to budget, or we know we're gonna get, because they always reduce it. Okay, so we have a cash surplus this year, and that's exciting, but we didn't do any capital projects last year, or this year. So could that be part of the surplus?
It could be part of the surplus, not in education. But yeah, it's definitely,
Don't
yeah.
talk about
It's
education, 'cause that doesn't come from
definitely,
this.
it's definitely part of the surplus that we're having. And we're still running a surplus, but by the time I got here, the trains had left the station for the time frame to do capital projects over the summer. So yeah, that is a portion of the surplus that we had. I wouldn't call it a false surplus, but
Do you know if we paid all the bills from the prior year?
we have, at this point, Patty and Missy, I feel like we've paid every bill from 2024.
Okay,
Yeah.
because you thought you had earlier, and then like 2 meetings ago you came up, or 3 meetings ago you came up, and there was another one, and you said, well, that was from insurance or something from the prior year.
Yeah, as of right now, we've not received any more 2024 bills. So
So it could still be a surprise, but
I
I'm
would,
pretty sure that
wouldn't
it's
like,
not.
now, 8 months in, I hope not, or 9 months, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, don't send us a bill from 2024 because,
Yeah.
then it'll show up that we didn't pay that.
Are the kids gonna be able to use the pool this year?
They can use the pool. The pool is usable, yeah. It was closed down because we had a pump issue that we're fixing, but that's a regular maintenance thing.
Because we spent $500,000 to fix the pool. And then when it came to supply list, there was swimsuit was not on the supply list for 7th grade. So what does that mean?
That swimming's not taught and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
not.
Kathy?
Typically at the school, because they need a lifeguard in there, you can't
Yeah.
be a teacher and a lifeguard.
Yep.
Oh, don't tell me that, because I was asking Mr. Taylor for years about that.
I think that's a,
But neither is a certified swimmer.
but I think that's a state, isn't that a state rule? Like the
Yes.
teacher used to be able to be in there
Yep, as the
and used to be
lifeguard,
able to swim as a lifeguard. Now
Yes.
they cannot do
you
that.
have to have two separate.
Yep. No,
And we have 4 other things we gotta go to. If you
Yeah.
want. Well, if you have public comment, continue on other things, but we have 3 other meetings. Thank you.
Okay. A motion second.
I have a motion to adjourn.
second.
Thank you. All those in favor to close the meeting, raise your hand.